One of the most common things guys ask me over on Instagram is, how do I talk to girls? Or what are some openers when you approach a woman? And whenever someone asks me this, I generally tell them that I personally don't have any special lines or tricks that I use when I open up a conversation with a woman, because to me, context and where you are and how you're actually meeting this woman all play a part in what kind of initial words you say to them. Because you can literally meet women everywhere, and depending on where you are, that context is going to change, and how you open up a conversation is also going to change. So, for example, you could meet women at a grocery store, or a coffee shop, or a park, or even on airplanes, which is actually a really great place to meet women. I've met a lot of women that I've gone out with sitting next to them on an airplane, because obviously, you got a couple hours next to each other that you can literally have a date with them right on the airplane. And if all goes well, as soon as you get off the plane, then you're off to explore that city together, which I've done. So, I'm just not a guy who has some sort of special funny line that he says. Now, that being said, there are guys out there who do teach those types of things. These guys are really good at being funny. They have some sort of a wacky little trick, or some sort of something that makes a girl laugh and it opens up a conversation, and they're really good at that kind of thing. But for me, I tend to just use a very, I guess I would dare to say, boring approach. Not boring, but just a very normal, genuine conversation starter when I first meet a woman. So today, what I'd like to do in this video is share with you an experience that I had at a grocery store, because I think at a grocery store is a very practical, it's a common place that every guy goes to. And if you happen to order your groceries online, I suggest that you stop doing that and instead go to a grocery store so you can practice meeting people, running into people, opening up conversations, meeting women, asking women out. The more chances that you have to interact with people, the better. So get offline and go do things in person. It's free. It's literally a free class on how to interact with people. So I'm going to explain to you this woman, how I asked a woman out at the grocery store. Now, again, this is how I do it. This is my style. I'm not saying that you need to be exactly like me, or that you even could, because we each have our own approach to different things. But what I'm hoping that you can take away from this video is the theory, or the sort of mindset behind it, in how what I did was effective. I do want to say that when I asked this girl out, I wasn't sitting there thinking about, what's a technique that I could use to ask her out. I really don't do that. In fact, I didn't plan on asking her out initially. It's just the conversation was going well. I thought she was attractive, so I asked her out. It wasn't like a planned thing. So just keep that in mind, that everything that I'm about to share with you, you should take that and translate it into who you are as a man, and how you can use this, just the mindset, into asking girls out on your own wherever you happen to be. All right, so this event took place at Trader Joe's. And Trader Joe's, for those of you that don't know, it's a pretty popular grocery store chain here in the United States. There's smaller grocery stores, and they have tons and tons of interesting, unique snacks and foods and items, and it's a pretty good price. And for whatever reason, a lot of really hot girls shop there. So if you want to go to a place that you have some opportunities to interact with girls, check out Trader Joe's, because they're there all the time. I've met so many pretty girls there. So anyway, when I go to the grocery store, Trader Joe's in this example, I grab a basket and I take my time and I enjoy myself at the grocery store, because I love different snacks and foods. And it seems like every single week, this place has some new food item that they're offering to sell. And so I really just enjoy taking my time and looking around. So on this particular day, I ended up in the frozen foods aisle, near the frozen desserts. So they've got, different meals, they've got pizzas, but I was heading towards the frozen desserts, because one thing about me, like I said, I love sweets, and so Trader Joe's has no shortage of them. So I saw this girl. She had a basket under her arm, and inside the basket was this box of chocolate-covered frozen bananas. And I'd never seen that before, and it intrigued me. So I just said to her, "Hey, are those good? I've never seen those here before." And she said to me, she's like, "No, I've actually never had them either, so I was going to give them a try." And so I was like, it's funny. My biggest vice is my sweet tooth. And every time I come to Trader Joe's, I always end up with a basket full of things that I should not be buying. And she laughed. And so this was sort of the opening of the conversation. So before I continue with the rest of it, I want to just break down that first interaction so you can kind of see the inner workings of this conversation. Now, again, like I said, I didn't plan this, but when I sat down and dissected how this conversation worked and how what I said opened up the conversation, there's some nuggets of information that I think you can take away. So, the first things first is obviously you're noticing something that she has. So that's a great way to start a conversation. It doesn't have to be special. I honestly said, "Hey, are those good? Because I've never had those before." It's a genuine conversation, because I love sweets, so it's an easy thing to ask, and it doesn't seem like some cheesy line or a pickup line. She answered back, and my response to her by saying, my biggest vice is my sweet tooth. When I look at this sentence, when I initialize the conversation by saying my biggest vice, well, vices are not good things. They're usually associated with bad things, right? Smoking or drugs or drinking, something that's a bit self-destructive. So when I opened up with saying, "Oh, my biggest vice," what this does is it shows a level of self-awareness, as in, I know what I'm doing. I'm not pretending that I'm doing something good. I know this is a vice. I know this is a little bad. It's a little naughty, but I'm aware of it. I completely understand it. And when you say the word vice, there's a little bit of, I wouldn't go far as to say danger, but there's a sort of a badness associated with it, right? Like you're doing something that you maybe shouldn't be. But then when I complete that sentence of saying, my biggest vice is my sweet tooth, that relieves that tension with a little comedic humor. It's kind of funny. She might not have been expecting me to say sweet tooth. She might have thought maybe, I blow a lot of money or something like that. But the little sweet tooth thing is kind of fun because it sets up an expectation and then answers that expectation with a little bit of humor, a little comedy there, a little punchline. And she could have been thinking, I don't think she was thinking, he must have a really bad vice. I don't think she was anywhere near thinking something like that. But when you set that up, it takes her on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster of like, oh, vice, oh, sweets. So it has an effect of sounding funny, cute, charming. Okay, this guy loves sweet. There's something a little bit endearing about that. Okay? And now, because that really is my vice, like I said, I love cookies, I love cakes, sweets, ice cream, all that stuff. I love it. You guys might not know that about me, but truly, I just love sweets. So for me to say that I love sweets, this works because, I'm not a huge overweight man. Now, if I was out of shape, overweight, obese, and I said, yeah, I got a really bad sweet tooth, she'd be like, yeah, no shit you do. She could look at me and see that. But instead of that, not to say that I'm a huge muscular ripped dude, but I'm in decent shape. And so what this does subconsciously somewhere in her mind is that she is going through this experience of, okay, he's got this little vice. So he's got a little bit of a naughty side. Oh, but he loves sweets. Okay, so that's kind of fun. He's playful. It's charming there. And also, he loves the sweets, but he still maintains good shape. So this guy obviously loves to have fun. He indulges. He knows how to have pleasure. And he also gets business done. So he must work out. He must take care of that. He handles it, even if he goes out and has a little fun, right? And the first part is really important because girls love to have fun. The song by Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun? Well, it's very true. Girls do just love fun. They love having a good time. And so you gotta, opening up what I said with, my vice is sweets. I'm opening up with the humor, and then obviously through my actions and just my presence, the way I look, the way I present myself, she can tell that, okay, this guy does take care of things. And again, subconsciously, that's something that women will find very attractive. Now, the next part of this, so let's just move on from this initial opener. Okay, so I dissected that. Hope that makes sense. The next thing I asked her then after I said that was, have you ever been to Newport Beach? Because there's a really great shop that sells chocolate-covered frozen bananas. When I asked her this, she said, I haven't been there because I actually just moved to LA not too long ago. So I haven't been down there yet. Now, this was great. By her saying that she just moved here, it then allowed me to ask this next question, which was, how are you liking LA so far? Boom. Real simple. Seems easy, but let me tell you about what this question does, because it does a couple of different things for the conversation. One is that it shows a genuine interest in what she has to say and what she's going through, what she's about. Because when someone just moves here, think about it. They probably have some good experiences. They got some bad experience. Maybe they like some things. Maybe they don't like some things. Maybe they miss home. Maybe they're having a hard time getting used to this new lifestyle. So by asking, how you like in LA so far, it gives them an opportunity to maybe get some of that stuff out. And women really connect and bond with you when they speak and can share stuff with you. Women bond through verbal communication. And if a girl feels comfortable and safe with you, she opens up more. So by asking a question like this, it allows her to open up to hopefully feel more comfortable with you. But it's also a way for you to gauge her level of interest. Because if I would have said, hey, how are you liking LA so far? She goes, yeah, it's pretty good. And that was it. Well, that's great information for me, because then it says to me, okay, she's not giving me much to work with. She's probably not interested and wants to move on shopping. And that lets me know that. However, this girl instead went on quite a bit about talking about what she liked about it, where she was from. So she's spending that much more time with me, and she's opening up that much more in the conversation, which let me know she feels comfortable talking to me. She's enjoying the conversation. She wants to talk with me. And so this question of how are you liking LA so far is what I call an open-ended question. It opens up the end. It's not a one-word answer. Because I think most guys out there would say something like, do you like LA? That you can get a yes or you can get a no. It doesn't allow the conversation to go in different directions. And it's hard to follow up that, because you don't want to just ask another question. Because you could, some guys might say, do you like LA? Yeah. What do you like about it? And it's just kind of like, it becomes an interview. Whereas you say, how are you liking LA so far? She can expand on things. And let's say she says something about the traffic. You'd be like, oh yeah, you gotta find like a really good podcast and just kick back and relax. You can kind of offer up a different suggestion, start talking about podcasts or wherever the conversation naturally goes. And so having an open-ended conversation, it allows you to have a little bit of back and forth banter so she can understand who you are. You can see who she is. Now, you'd probably wonder, okay, so you talk about, you have this little banter, then how do you actually get to the part where you ask her out? And that's what I'm going to talk about next. And so literally we were having a little bit of conversation there. And then I finally just said to her, hey, why don't you give me your number and we can grab a drink sometime and you can continue to tell me about your favorite sweets. Because we were talking about the sweets thing. And she said, yeah, that'd be fun. And boom, just like that, I'm like, all right, what's your number? Boom, 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 boom. I send her a text. This is Jason. And that was literally it. I said, okay, I'll hit you up tomorrow or whatever. I can't remember what I said. I'll hit you up the next couple of days, something like that. And that was it. That was literally it. So going back to this question of what's an opener? Well, in that situation, asking about a box of frozen bananas was my opener. So it depends on the context, but questions are always great. So if you are out somewhere, if you're at a grocery store, you can always just use that environment. Like I said, one way to look at it is like become the Jackie Chan of conversation. And if you guys have ever seen a Jackie Chan movie, he's always finding things in his environment to use to fight off the bad guys. He's got a ladder over here. He's got a bucket of spices over here. He's got a frying pan over here. He just picks what he has around him. So that's literally what I do all the time. I'm like looking around, what's over here, what's over that? What are they doing that I can call attention to? You know, if I see a girl at the grocery store, she's buying an apple, I go, apples, huh? I love me a good apple. Give me a nice little Fuji and I'm good to go. I mean, it could be kind of goofy and silly like that, but it just opens up the conversation. So you can literally pick anything, and how you say it, you got a little smile on your face, a little charm, and it opens up a conversation, or at least gives you enough information to see if she's interested in talking to you or not. I want to just jump into this next little sub part of this, which is, I think a big barrier for guys out there is you're intimidated to talk to a woman because they give out this vibe of, you know, I'm so confident, I'm a boss babe, don't come and approach me, don't talk to me. But the reality is, oftentimes for women, that's a facade. Feminine nature is to be more worried, anxious, insecure, and they seek masculine energy to feel more secure, that they rest in a strong masculine presence of a man. So most women out there, even though they look tough as nails and think that, you know, they look super hot, they've got insecurities, and they're not just brimming with confidence. So the key here is to not let yourself feel intimidated. They're just like anybody else. And as a matter of fact, you know, women out there are waiting for men to approach them. They like to be approached. Even the most staunched, you know, uptight feminist chicks, a guy approaches them, they may act like a bee when you know, you do that, but deep down they love it. They want the attention. Women love attention. So by you just approaching them saying, hey, what's up, they're gonna still like it, even though in your mind you think that they don't. And even if they really don't, who cares? It's not up to you to decide that. So you just have to be comfortable with and understand the fact that people, regardless, they don't mind being approached if you're being friendly and just opening a conversation. And you'll get a sense for, okay, they're just not really into this right now, so, you know, I can just close the conversation. Now, a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, that's easy for you to say because you're good at it. You can just walk up to people and do things. And that's true. I am right now. But there was a part in my life, there was a time in my life where that wasn't the case. I wasn't as smooth. I wasn't as conversationally, you know, skilled as I am now. I'd be shy or I'd be embarrassed. I mean, there was a lot of times where I just fumbled the football and looked like a total jackass and turned around walking away with my tail between my legs. So it does take practice, just like working out. It's a skill. It's like you don't go to the gym and expect to deadlift 200 pounds. You got to work your way up. So the best way for you guys to work your way up is to start conversations with women that you really just aren't that attracted to. You know, start off with women that you have no inkling of attraction towards whatsoever. And you ask them questions. You see if you can get them to laugh. You try different ways of speaking. You slow down your pace in talking. You smile. You practice your body language. And you do this enough and you get good at it. And then eventually you can work your way up to girls that you think are somewhat attractive. And then from there you go to girls that you think are really attractive. And so it just becomes easier and easier as you graduate to more difficult levels. So I just want you guys to realize that you don't need to start as James Bond. You don't need to start with talking to who you consider a supermodel. You know, start simple. Like a good example of this is even me with these YouTube videos. Looking at the camera and just talking off the top of my head, it's not something that I'm used to. Like if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with someone, it's a lot easier. I'm much more smooth. I realize that even in these videos, I sometimes lose my place of where I'm supposed to be saying, or I'll forget to say something. I'll have to go back, or my delivery might not be as smooth as I wish it was. But again, I'm practicing, and I know that if I keep working at it long enough, I will become better at it. So it's just like the same with women. You gotta keep approaching and you gotta keep trying it so your body gets comfortable, you know? And lastly, don't stress on the topic. don't think you have to have some amazing conversation starter. Like I said, I asked this girl about a box of frozen bananas. I mean, that sounds really crazy on paper, but it's that simple. And you go in with sort of a charming, charming, a little cocky, confident, be like, hey, are those any good? Because I've never had a frozen banana before. Say something like that. It's how you deliver it. So don't worry about that topic. You don't need that perfect line. You just got to open it up in the conversation and think about, just ask open-ended questions that are not yes or no questions. Don't ask questions that will give you a yes or a no answer. Ask questions that allow them to expand on their thoughts. So this is pretty much it. I hope this makes sense to you guys and you can take some of these things that I did and see how you can translate it into your own life. But I'd love to hear about your guys' experience. How did you navigate? Have you approached girls? What worked? What did not work? What are some things that you have found to be the best things when approaching people that you've never met before? Let me know in those comments. And if you guys have been receiving value with this video, if these things are resonating with you, feel free to pass them along to a friend or some other buddy of yours who might benefit from hearing this if they're struggling with approaching women out in public. And of course, if you like what you're hearing and you'd like to hear more, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and hang out with us. I'm dropping stuff every week and would love to have you. And lastly, if you want more information, I have a freebie guide that I created called Mastering the Art of Attracting Feminine Women. So if you're looking to bring more feminine women into your life, check out that free guide. I think you'll really enjoy it. You can grab that down in the link below. All right, guys, that is it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one.